How often do we speak to one another with a sort of skepticism that makes them feel the need to defend the source of their authority or the motive of their actions? You know, we have to beware people who constantly require our credentials and questions the motives of others around them all the time. But most importantly, we as believers must beware of the tendency to do so ourselves. We should reach a place of spiritual maturity where the authority of fellow believers is spiritually discerned. John writes in 1 John 4:1 that we try the spirits, whether they are of God, because there are false prophets. But what John suggests here is a spiritual trial of someone's motives, a discernment that welcomes someone who professes Christ and then surrenders to the Holy Spirit in us and trusts Him to reveal on what authority someone is acting. John reminds us in verse 4 that we are children of God and that the Holy Spirit in us is greater than he that is in the world. This means that, unlike unbelievers, we can discern a person's sincerity and keep our mouths shut in the process. Our current culture commends someone who instantly and regularly just blurts out suspicion of anyone and everyone. People cross our paths and get interrogation instead of inspiration, skepticism instead of support. Don't fall into the habit of blessing God but cursing everyone around you. James wrote that sort of behavior is the result of an untamed tongue set on fire of hell. In James 3:15, he says it's a wisdom that's not from above, but instead it's earthly, meaning that's the way the world does it. But for believers, he says in verse 10, this blessing and cursing in speech, whether to someone's face or behind their back, it ought not be so, James said. Just for the sake of clarity, I'm not saying we don't confront abuse or blasphemous teaching. Those are things we call out. We defend the innocent. We speak against heresy. But if you have questions or a concern about someone's spiritual maturity or maybe just their methods, don't jump straight to skepticism and discussing your concerns with others. Go to God with it and trust Him to correct and grow others as needed. There may be a time the Holy Spirit clearly demands you to speak up, but discernment is most often found in the silent bystander, prayerfully handing things over to God.